Today, we are going to talk about burn injuries, the pathophysiology and clinical management from acute resuscitation all the way through systemic recovery. Most burns are preventable. Focus prevention on child safety, smoke and fire hazard controls like detectors and drills, safe water heater temperatures, and proper flammable storage. Survival ultimately comes down to three factors: TBSA, inhalation injury, and your patient's age. Severity hinges on five drivers: age, comorbidities, burn depth, location, and TBSA. Morbidity spikes in pediatric and geriatric patients, and burns to the face, hands, feet, joints, or perineum carry exponential functional risk, enough to warrant burn center care regardless of total size. First-degree burns destroy only the epidermis, red, dry, painful, quick recovery. And second-degree adds the dermis with wet blisters healing in 2 to 3 weeks. Third-degree destroys both layers completely, leathery and insensate, requiring grafting. Fourth degree extends into muscle or bone, often ending in amputation. The rule of nines gives you a rapid adult estimate for triage. London Browder is age-adjusted and far more accurate for children, whose body proportions differ. And the Palmer method, your patient's palm equals about 1% TBSA, works fast for scattered or irregular burns. Escalate to a burn center for more than 10%. TBSA, or any third-degree burn, burns to critical functional areas like the face, hands, feet, or joints. Atypical mechanisms like inhalation, electrical, or chemical injury, or complex patient factors like pediatric cases or major comorbidities. Jackson's zones explain the injury locally. The zone of coagulation is dead tissue with irreversible damage. The zone of stasis is the critical battleground. Compromised tissue you can still save with aggressive fluid resuscitation. The zone of hyperemia is the outer inflamed edge that recovers on its own. Electrical burns are deceptive. External wounds don't reflect the internal damage, which can include compartment syndrome, myoglobinuria from muscle breakdown, or immediate cardiac arrest. Radiation burns combine thermal skin injury with DNA damage, altering cellular recovery and immune response. Past the 20% TBSA threshold, a burn stops being a local injury and becomes a systemic crisis. Massive cytokine release triggers systemic inflammatory response, driving hypermetabolism, then multiple organ dysfunction across the renal, hepatic, cardiovascular, and respiratory systems, with mortality risk climbing fast. Your patient faces decreased cardiac output and burn shock from plasma and capillary leak, needing aggressive fluid resuscitation as edema peaks at 6 to 8 hours. Watch for early hyperkalemia, later hypokalemia, and hyponatremia. In the lungs, upper airway edema may need early intubation, while soot in the sputum is your hallmark sign of smoke injury. Treat carbon monoxide with 100% oxygen. Hypoperfusion plus released hemoglobin and myoglobin can clog the kidneys, leading straight to acute tubular necrosis. In the gut, watch for ileus, Curling's ulcer, and bacterial translocation risking sepsis, plus abdominal compartment syndrome from high fluid volumes. And once the skin barrier is gone, infection risk and hypothermia both climb. Your patient needs strict environmental warming. Recovery is a cycle: acute resuscitation and infection control, then physical rehabilitation and scar management, then psychosocial reintegration. Burns touch every system, but the real goal isn't just survival. It's restoring your patient's function, dignity, and quality of life. In summary, classify burns by depth, estimate TBSA with the rule of nines, and remember survival hinges on age, TBSA, and inhalation injury. Refer to a burn center for over 10% TBSA or any third-degree burn, and watch for burn shock and soot in the sputum. Because past 20% TBSA, you're managing a systemic crisis, not just a wound.